Hello friends, welcome to my November TBR in which I'm going to be enthusiastic, that's not a word. Hello guys, welcome to my November TBR in which I'm going to be enthusiastic about the books that I aim to or need to read in November, even though I have not read the books that I should have read in October. And you know what, we're not even going to talk about those ones. At this point of filming, I don't know quite where I got to in my October TBR, but I know that I have a significant amount of books left over. So instead of rehashing all of that for my November TBR, I'm just going to talk to you about 7 books that I would like to read throughout the month of November, and I'm going to add those on top of the books that I have left over from October, and throughout the month I'm just gonna hopefully make my way through them. Now I am participating in another readathon in November. Autumn is the season of readathons for me. This one is going into winter as well. It is the Clear Your Shit readathon, which I have participated in for the last 5 years. This is round 5. So I have participated in this one since the very first round, and this year is going to be no exception. So this one is a 2-month-long readathon that is hosted by Andy over at Mouse Reads, and I will of course leave the announcement video down in my description box. The only rule for Clear Your Shit is that you are technically not allowed to buy any books to fulfill any of the prompts, as the point of the readathon is to clear your shit before the end of the year. It is to read through books that you already own to start the next year on a clean slate or having made a significant dent in your TBR. So it is a narrative readathon, and if you are looking to participate in this any year, now would be a good time because they're actually starting a new chapter of the story. And the way that it works is that you can see all of the prompts apart from a few secret ones ahead of time, so they're all already released, but they will also be released with a little snippet of narrative at the pace of 3 per week from the beginning of November through to the end of December. So I do like to try and follow the prompts in order. You can do them in any order. I like to try and follow them in order, but I don't plan my books in advance. I just use the books already on my TBR to fill the prompts as they come up. You can follow my progress on that readathon in my vlogs throughout November and December, but I won't be assigning any books to any prompts in this video. And if you want to know a little bit about the narrative, I think for the beginning of this new book, this new segment, that we have saved the Kingdom of Shelfler, which was the point of the first. Why are there so many children walking past my house right now? I'm gonna close the windows. I'm overly sensitive to sound at the minute because I am aware that I have a new microphone. This is the first full video that I'm filming using it, and I have no idea at this point how sensitive it is, so sorry for any random noises that you hear in the background. I'm hoping that because it's a quality upgrade that it will dampen some of that, but at this point I have no idea. I've only done a couple of test clips. But anyway, back to the narrative of Clear Your Shit. For this new chapter, we are going to a new planet. So we've saved the Kingdom of Shelfler, and we have gone to seek a new world where the readers are cursed and they are obsessed with buying books, but they cannot read them. Things that are going to get in the way of my reading in November. I'm going to be away for the first 10 days of the month. I'm going to Egypt on a Trover trip. I'm going on Gavin from Gavin Reads It All's Egypt Trover trip. So that is from Halloween through to the 9th of November. I'm going to be taking some books with me, or a book and my Kindle, but I have no idea how much reading time I'm actually gonna have while I'm away. Hopefully a little bit, I can see a little gaps where there may be time for reading, but I also am very much along for what anybody else is up for. So if we have a group of party animals, a lot of reading is not going to get done, but we'll see when I get there. So I think that is everything that I need to cover before I talk to you guys about the actual books that we're going to be reading. So I guess, speaking of Egypt, there is a group book for this trip that I'm going to be starting on the day that this video goes up, because we're leaving on Halloween, or I'm leaving on Halloween. And the book for Gavin's trip is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. This one is, I think it's a YA fantasy mystery type of story. It says that it's Death on the Nile meets The Mummy, and it is about a girl who lives in Buenos Aires in the 19th century, yes, and she has parents that are adventurers and they're always away from home, and all she really wants is to be close to her parents. I'm pretty sure that they die, and she ends up going on a trip to Egypt to kind of find out what happens to them. So this one is a little bit of a historical fantasy. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it because of that mystery element, but as I own actually a couple of copies of this. I got it in a bunch of subscription boxes. I'm definitely going to give it a try. I'll start it on the plane and read it throughout the first few days in Egypt, and I'm excited for the group discussion for this one as well. And then speaking of book clubs, I guess the next Wheel of Time Long live show is only going to be at the beginning of December, but we are going to be reading The Knife of Dreams, which is book 11 in the Wheel of Time series, and it is quite a chunky one. The generic like page count on Goodreads says 860 pages, so it is going to take me a while to get through. It'll be something like a 30-hour audiobook, which is insane. So I need to request that one from my library, and I think when I get back from Egypt, I'm going to start this one and then just gradually chip away at it up until the live show at the beginning of December. So if you are unfamiliar with Wheel of Time, it is a very classic high fantasy series following an epic struggle between the forces of dark and light. It's set in a world where the same thing happens over and over again as the wheel turns, and every age has the same events as the age before. So in this series, we are following this age's Dragon Reborn as he hopefully tips the scales of darkness and light towards the light for good with the help of his friends, who are a group of Tarvaran that are people that are able to change the weave of the world. I am excited about this one because we've just made it through the slog, so it should be picking up a little bit. And also it's the last one written by Robert Jordan before we get into the Brandon Sanderson books, which I'm really excited to see kind of the difference in the series when we transition over to Brandon Sanderson, who's one of my favorite authors. We are also going to be starting a new series for my Patreon book club, which is the Alpha Ho book club. Like the rest of the book clubs that I'm a part of, this is a read along where we read through fantasy romance series. And for this round, we are going to be reading the Lady of Darkness series by Melissa K. Rorick, with one book every 2 months because they're all over 500 pages from November through until I think it's like August next year. So if you want to join to be part of the conversation on this book, we have a section in Discord for people to discuss, and then I make a spoiler video for every book in the series and then do a live show to wrap up the series when we're done reading. So this one I think is a fae romance. Yes. They're always my faves. And this is following a girl who is an assassin, and I think she's sent to steal the secrets or get close to like this fae fire prince that I think she wants revenge on because he killed her mother. But over the course of it, I'm assuming that they actually end up growing closer to each other. I'm really excited to read this one because it's one that got like super hyped at the beginning of the year. Since the conversations come back around in terms of my book club, there's a lot of people who are saying like, yeah, I liked it, but it's not the best thing. So I guess we'll kind of see like what my opinion is when I get to this one. But this one is our book for November and December, so if I don't get to it in November, then it's not a big deal. But if I have an opening, if I'm able to read it, then I would like to get a little bit of a head start on it, so there's no chance of me lagging behind. I also on my Patreon have an unofficial read along that's like super low key and super chill of the Pretty Little Liars series by Sarah Shepherd, and we have a bi-monthly 24-hour readathon on Patreon. So if you're in the lowest tier, then the readathon is bi-monthly, and if you're in one of the higher 2 tiers, then there is a higher tier exclusive one in the months in between, if that makes sense. For every one of those readathons, I have been reading a book in the Pretty Little Liars series, apart from in October when I was really focused on finishing an episode of Shelve It or Scrap It. So I did not read the book that I was supposed to, which was Wanted by Sarah Shepherd, that I actually also forgot to even put on my October TBR. And then the book for November that we're going to be reading is Twisted. So these are books 8 and 9, and I'm hoping to get through both of them because they're quite short, they're quite quick, in just the one 24-hour readathon. So if you're all unfamiliar with this series, it is a YA mystery series about a group of girls whose friend goes missing one summer, like when they're at a sleepover, and they kind of drift apart because the girl that went missing, Allison, is the glue that holds them together, and they have to come back together to get to the bottom of a string of threatening texts that they're receiving from an anonymous source. So this is a really fun, really addictive, compelling, crazy, over-the-top mystery series that I'm just having a really good time with. These books are great palate cleansers for me, and I'm really excited to continue the series. I've actually missed my little dose of Pretty Little Liars this month, especially because I've been craving a little bit of a mystery or a thriller, and I feel like this would have really hit the spot if I'd have had time to read it. And then my last thing that I would like to add for my Patreon is the monthly book draw TBR. So every member of the inner circle tier on my Patreon can recommend a book that gets added to this jar. And then every month I pull a book and I aim to read it within the couple of months that follow it being picked. I am a little bit behind on these at the minute, but I have made progress. So it is definitely a step in the right direction. I am a little bit worried though, because this month I have added 4 new books to this pot, 2 of which were quite nice picks, 2 of which were very thick epic fantasy picks. So hopefully if any of those new ones come out, it is going to be the kind of smaller ones. The other ones are ones that I really want to read. It's just I'm a little bit behind at the minute. So epic fantasy would be something that I would really like to miss this month. But let's see what we have. Let's go for this one. So this one's purple, so it's definitely not a new one. This one was added in 2023. And it is Daughter of, The Drone Empire by Frankie Diane Mills. That was Natty's pick. Okay, let me have a look if this is on KU, because this would be a really good pick for something to take to Egypt with me if I'm planning on just taking this book and my Kindle, which would be ideal, but I haven't decided yet. Did I say Frankie Diane Mills? Because I think it might be Frankie Diane Malice, maybe? It's Frankie Diane Malice. It looks like it's been picked up by a publisher. So it unfortunately is not on KU, but it says that it's inspired by Cleopatra. I'm going to Egypt, so this actually might be a better pick. I thought for some reason that this was maybe a pirate book. I'm gonna look at the cover on Goodreads because it's definitely changed. It says Cleopatra meets Throne of Glass in this stunning debut. So it's a world that's persecuting people with magic. It might have a series of trials in it. So it's about a girl who lives in a world in a position of wealth and privilege, but she lives in a world that's persecuting people with magic because of a empire that rules the country that she lives in. So survivors of a celestial war, so aliens maybe, but she has been protecting her sisters who have magic, and when it comes to this test that like reveals her own forbidden magic, she uncovers something else entirely and ends up banished from the empire. But she has to then accept a deadly contract where she has 7 months to train as a warrior and pass the Emperor's brutal test of strength, but without using the magic. And when she's forced to train with Lord Ryan Hart, the man she secretly loved since she was a girl, a feared warrior in exile himself, she's in danger of losing far more than her family, life, and country. So I am excited about this one, actually. Sad that I can't get it on KU, and I'm hoping, actually, let me just check that I can actually get this and that it hasn't been picked up by a publisher and then stalled for release. Yeah, no, it's out, so I definitely can purchase it, but it has been picked up by Hodder, so it's no longer available on KU. And then the last book that I would like to add to this TBR is just an audiobook that I would ideally like to listen to throughout the month, which is Dinner for Vampires by Bethany Joy Lenz. So this one is a non-fiction from Bethany Joy Lenz, who played Haley in One Tree Hill, which I think is how most people will be most familiar with her. She also had, I think, a brief singing career, but this book specifically is about when she was in a cult and how she got out of the cult. So this is very interesting to me because I do like to listen to a memoir on audio, I can't lie, but I'm also fascinated by cults. Like, I love cult documentaries, and I'm really intrigued because until this book was announced earlier this year, I had no idea, and I'm pretty sure that nobody else had any idea that she was in a cult. So I'm really excited to listen to this one. I won't bother picking up a physical copy. I'll just use either my Spotify hours or I will get it on audiobook to listen to it, and it is narrated by her as well. I don't anticipate it being a very long one as well. It says the audiobook here is 8 hours and 17 minutes. So providing that I don't have to jump straight into The Knife of Dreams, I should also be able to listen to this one in November. So here are some of the books that I plan to read in November, along with Daughter of the Drowned Empire, Dinner for Vampires, and also The Knife of Dreams. And then remember, of course, that I'm just slapping these books on top of a pretty hefty TBR that I already have. So as usual, we'll just kind of see what I get to throughout the month of November. And when it comes to December, actually, I will go through kind of everything that I've got left and try and get through those before the end of the year. If I could start 2025 with a clean slate, that would be the dream, if I'm being honest. But down in my comments, let me know if you have read any of these, especially Lady of Darkness and Daughter of the Drowned Empire. Let me know what you thought of them in non-spoilery terms, of course, and leave me a vampire emoji in the comments for Dinner for Vampires if you would like to let me know that you were here but you feel like you don't have anything you would like to say. But aside from that, guys, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna. If you head to my description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, Instagram, and my Patreon if you would like to join me on any of those. But that is it from me today, guys. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.